What's going on, everybody? This is Joshua Bishop, and you're listening to Wrestling Cheers, where everybody knows your name.
Taking your way in the world today takes everything you got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to go where you can see that troubles are all the same. You want to go where everybody knows your name.
And welcome back to Wrestling Cheers, where everybody knows your name, especially with a sold-out show. This is Wrestling Cheers. We like to talk about things going on the Northeast Ohio independent wrestling scene. We preview shows, we review shows, and sometimes we even have interviews along the way. This is a review of AIW's Absolution 15. I am your host, Justin Summers, and Wrestling Cheers is brought to you by Midwest Territory. Please rate, review, and subscribe your ever-listeners fine podcast, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music, or Podbean, WrestlingCheers.podbean.com. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, Facebook.com/WrestlingCheers, Twitter.com/WrestlingCheers, Instagram.com/WrestlingCheers, and email, if you so choose to desire, WrestlingCheers@gmail.com. Like I said, this is a review of AIW's Absolution 15. No Butters this week, but we got Brock.
Hey, yo.
So, how's it going? It's going good. This was a long night.
Dude, it was such a long night, but it was so much fun. I spent a little time in the parking lot staring at the trees, having myself a good old time, and then got to go inside and watch the wrestles. Dude, it was so good to be back at Absolution, because it's been 3 years since we've been able to experience it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Absolution 10 was my first show, so Absolution always kind of holds a special place in my heart. So to be back for Absolution was amazing.
So you were at the first AbSox, and now you got to go to AbSox 5.
Yeah, exactly. I was telling my girlfriend earlier, it's just it's crazy how long, just to think about how long I've been going to AIW shows now, and going from not knowing anybody there to knowing the majority of the regulars, and just the conversations that I get to have at AIW shows are always fun. I love it. I love it so much.
I mean, it's something that I obviously promote a lot, and it's partially what this podcast is all about, but the fact that, AIW is a community or a family, depending on how you want to put it. And I feel like when you come to these shows, it's more than just a wrestling show. You are coming to hang out with friends. Literally, that's the premise of why this is called Wrestling Cheers, because it's that kind of a bar-like atmosphere, or I should say a hometown bar type atmosphere where everybody, and you're going there to hang out, and it's the same thing. And yeah, if you going back to Absolution 10, I didn't even know my wife then. We didn't meet until that January.
Yeah.
So I remember that day. I remember that fucking venue. And obviously, if you look at that card, a lot of those people aren't around AIW regularly, for good or for bad, depending on which ones. But,
Yeah, but then you look at people like Brian Carson and Kaplan, who Absolution 10 was their first Absolution.
Mm-hmm.
And, here we are, 5 Absolutions later. And they're both in kind of a key spot on the card somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I think the thing with Carson too that I kind of forget about, because he's not necessarily a wrestler anymore. He is, but if you consider how much we see Kaplan compared to how much we see Carson wrestle, it's a big difference. But still, yeah, I agree. They still both represented on the card. They were there.
Mm-hmm. And Carson has had a key part in that whole Casey and Dom story too. So he's on the outside, but he's still important.
What else? It's crazy just to see how much has changed. But at the same time, it's still kind of the same, still kind of crazy shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll always say, like, that was one of my favorite Absolutions. Like, I don't know if another Absolution can beat it, because you had, obviously, like, starting off early, there was a lot of students. You get a lot of the history. You have some, like, really, big matches on that card, especially the first Donst versus Nick Gage.
Yeah, that match was incredible.
And then obviously you have the most expensive main event in AIW history.
Yep.
A match that
I just want to say that my favorite match, before you talk about that main event, my favorite match on that card was Eddie Kingston and Ethan Page.
Mm-hmm.
That match, that's the match that got me to keep wanting to come back.
And where are they now?
Exactly.
But I was going to say, with the main event, like, that match would be even more expensive if it was today.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, the only bright side is one of them, their rate probably went down a lot, but that's only because he doesn't wrestle as much anymore. Or at all.
Yeah, good old name redacted.
Yep, good old name redacted. But, yeah, Absolution is just, it's hands down, like, one of the best shows of the year. I know for a lot of, it's either this or Rager for a lot of people, which I get. Like, this is the end of the year big event, but, which I should say, this has its own, like, party atmosphere. But Rager is obviously a party.
Rager's different because you don't really have too much of the storyline stuff with Wrestle Rager as you do with Absolution.
Yeah, you might get a little, but
yeah, you get a little bit there. But for the most part, Rager is a giant party for everybody.
And with this show, this particular one, Absolution 15, having it in Akron was perfect. I don't think all, like, this amount of people would have fit in the Odeon. Like, as much as I love the Odeon, because visually, like, if you're seeing pictures of it, you're seeing videos of it, it has this very professional atmosphere because it's with the lights out and actual regular, I don't know how to describe those kind of lights, because it's not obviously not regular lights, but still like more of a concert venue instead of gymnasiums and all that, which has been a big part of AIW, like all that. So this felt like a big step up. But the big problem about that place is, besides parking, is space. And to have this many people at Tadmor, it's fucking awesome. Yeah,
for sure. It's so easy to maneuver at the Tadmor, and I've been on record saying that I'm not a huge fan of Tadmor just because I feel like I can't say fuck. But it's definitely growing on me a little bit more as a venue for AIW to continue going to. So I don't mind it at all. I said fuck a couple times on Saturday, I'm pretty sure. And I mean, if little kids can flick off the wrestlers, then I should be able to say fuck, right?
Yeah, very, very true. It's easier to move at Tadmor, but like as packed as it was, there were still some like really bad choke points. Which, granted, like compared to the Odeon, like it's still easier. But I know when I was trying to get out to my car during the quote second intermission, kind of, there was just this point where like some people were standing at the merch table, and then you have other people trying to get out, and the lane that you went through was like only about 2 people wide. So then you had still people like also like coming in, so it's just like it became a clusterfuck. And then you had people like also like kind of like standing in the way, and I'm like know where you're going. On top of like if you're in the way, like just move out of the way for now, or stand somewhere else for the merch table, just because people are really trying to get out, and it's just this really bad choke point. But yes, as a whole, it is a lot easier to move around. And the thing is too, and I was thinking this because this was the first time that they had it open, but there is that little like bar lounge type thing in the back, and I'm like, there's probably an answer, but why can't we have the big meet and greets there?
Yeah.
Instead of...
Are you talking about the spot where they had them set up for the WrestleCon, or whatever the thing was that they did there? Yeah,
where like Booker T was, Joel Gertner, and Uncle Fed. Yeah, that area. Like this was the first time, like other than that, where I think when I went to the restroom at one point, like I saw like the door was open, there were people in there, but it was like obviously some Shriners that were in there. And I don't know if they were just hanging out there while shit was going on, or because there is like this back entrance for the Tadmor that is labeled something for the Masonic. And I'm like, can anybody go back there? Like regularly? No, obviously not for the show, but like regularly, like what's the deal?
I don't know too much about that place outside of the gymnasium like section and then the bathroom in the parking lot.
Yeah.
There's some pretty nice trees out in that parking lot too, man. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I wish
the way the wind blows through them, it's fun to watch.
People have described it as fire. But yeah, I think if we would have like meet and greets back there, something big, a big meet and greet like Scott Hall, Johnny. There's another big one recently that I thought was there. Oh, Britt, but that was after the show.
Wasn't the Harley race meet and greet line super long too?
Yeah, I think it was a little long. I remember with Steamboat, I got in line early. That was one of those like, I'm first in, I throw my shit on my seat, and then I run to the meet and greet line, so I don't have to wait a half hour. I can wait 5 minutes.
Missed the Steamboat show.
That was a good one.
I went back and watched it, but I think I had to work that weekend. I wasn't able to go.
Going into this show, obviously I take it because you're not really a meet and greet person, so you didn't do any meet and greet here.
No, I saw Johnny, but no, I didn't go up and talk to him again. I didn't want to pay to talk to him. I've done that enough for free.
I was going to skip on it. Well, I technically did skip on a meet and greet because he was at Time Capsule Toys. I got a new picture with him. I got a figure of his re-signed. So I was like, I was good. And then he set up right in front of where I am for my seats. And when I sit there, I'm like, obviously just watching him do meet and greets. And I see on the table, like as I was getting to my seat, there were his last 2 WWE basic figures. And I needed both of them. For those who don't know, like they came out with one, and then there was a chase that went with it. So same figure, just a little bit different paint. Well, I'm, for the most part, Johnny Gargano figure completionist. I have all of his figures up until those 2. So I was like, fuck, I haven't ordered them yet. I'll see how much they are later. So at intermission, I did go up because the line 2, like for intermission, was short. Like everybody got their shit in early because that is a thing. You do have to realize that sometimes, yeah, some people just do at the beginning of the show and you might not get to do intermission because people have bitched about that. There are rare occasions that does happen. So I do that, find out they're 20 each, and if you want a signature, it's 40. So I'm like, well, I don't want to spend $80 to get them both signed. I don't need them both signed, but I kind of want one signed, so got them both and got the chase signed. And it's the only money that I spent at the show. I didn't really want to spend anything, but when I heard the price, and I'm like, fuck, I'll do it, fine. So now I have
the curse of the collector.
Yeah, so now I have all his figures, but the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast did release recently 3 Bend-Em figures of Gargano, 1 through them and 2 through other, like they're like certain store exclusives, online store exclusive. I'm like, and one of them's triple digits, so we'll see how that goes. I mean, I didn't want to pay for full price for the Britt Baker Chase figure, but when I found one for 100 even, I was like, yeah, that's the lowest I'm going to find it. Oh, dude, on eBay, they were going for like the cheapest, I think, was either 110 or 120.
Oh my god. Aren't wrestling figures like $30 if you find them in the store? If you find them in the store,
but Chase figures, especially AEW ones, the aftermarket can be high. And finding them in the wild can be also very hard because you have people where, I don't want to say it's their job, but you have people that they go to the stores first thing in the morning, every morning, and look through figures and get stuff that was just put out. Rest his soul, like granted, this, he wasn't necessarily doing it on purpose, but Tom Troll, like he worked with, I think maybe a beer distributor or something like that, where he was going into stores every day, and he said like he always checked the figures everywhere he went, and yeah, that he would find like shit all the time. So yeah,
I can't do it, man.
The curse of the collector.
Yeah, can't do it.
So if I ever find one though in the store, because I'm now seeing more and more of her figure out, because normally with a chase it's like there's one per case, maybe, or one every few cases, I don't know, but I swear I always see more Britt Baker figures at my local Walmart. Like maybe one week there's 2, and then like next week there's 3. I'm like, well, you got at least one more in.
Oh, it seems like they give her a figure for every line too. So,
not
she's
that
got
much.
a few of them out there.
She has more now coming out, but like up until very recently, like she only had the one in the chase. That was, well, Blood and Guts. That's one is a ringside collectible exclusive. And if you want to buy it at AIW, it's signed, but it's like 2 something.
Jesus.
But the story on that is I haven't got the direct answer from her, but I've heard different stories, but it's like kind of the same thing as like she won't sign them in public type thing. Like if you meet her at, I think, a regular show or something, she won't sign them, or like she definitely won't do like beating her, like actual like regular public place, like crazy airport stalkers that we know.
Mm-hmm.
But I would think, and I've heard it is this, like if you go to a con that she's at and you pay that price for a autograph, she will sign it.
Okay.
But that's why there's a high price tag on the one at AIW, because there's not a ton out there.
Sure.
All right, so that includes the collecting corner of Wrestling Cheers. We got that over with. I mean, greet wise, like that's the only really thing I did. I did go talk to Cardona for a quick minute, but I didn't buy anything. I'll get to it later. I have a purchase coming up for next week because of something on this show, and I got confirmation they will be available this Saturday. So we'll get to that. All right, let's get into our first match. A complete unannounced match. We get M-Dog Matt Cross versus TKD versus Riley Rose versus Chase Oliver versus, if I pronounce this right, Commander. Okay.
Yeah.
And versus returning Gringo Loco.
So
I'm just gonna throw out, this is how you start fucking Absolution.
exactly. So I looked over at Pam because Pam asked me, she's like, was this match announced? And I was like, I don't think so. It's like, but I mean, you pretty much almost always start Absolution with some type of scramble. Mm-hmm. And like, I remember, like Absolution 11 and I think 12 and 13 too, or maybe 13 kicked off with Dom and Duke. But anyways, there's like some just really memorable like lucha scrambles that opened up Absolution. And so I felt like opening up with a scramble was the perfect way to start the show off. And I looked at Pam and I was like, it would just be great if Gringo came out, because like we haven't seen Gringo since before the pandemic, and so to have Gringo in an unannounced scramble, I felt would just make perfect sense. And then like right after I said that, we saw him like walk past the curtain, so we both got super excited. But this Commander dude that came with Gringo, holy shit, I want that dude to come back. So like bring him back every month. Oh my god.
Okay, got it pulled up on Cage Match. Absolution 11 did start off with actually not a scramble. It was a six-man tag. But Laredo Kid, M-Dog, and Zima Ion, they defeated Gringo Loco, Steve Payne, and Skade Jr.?
Skaze. I remember him. Okay, so not a scramble, but still, like, that's, 6-person lucha.
Yeah, I give it to you there. Like, it's the same but different. You're still getting the same thing. You were right about Abso 12, as I'm pulling that up. Yeah, it did start off with Dom versus the Duke, and there was no scramble on that show. And then 13, it started off with a scramble, not necessarily a lucha scramble, though. Lewis Linden defeated Derek, now Dillinger, KTB, Space Monkey, Wheeler Yuta, and Rex Brody.
Do you remember that match now? Yeah.
And then lastly, Absolution 14 did not. It had a scramble. I want to say that was the beginning of the second half.
That was the one that had Wheeler Yuta in it, right?
Yeah, Wheeler Yuta defeated KTB, Lee Moriarty, and Lewis Linden. The opener was Loser Lee's AIW Big Twan Tucker defeats MJF. So it's maybe
those scrambles are the perfect way, I think, to open up any AIW show, but Absolution especially.
If it's not going to be the opener, I'm fine with coming back from intermission with a scramble, because that really brings you back in to the show.
Yeah, there's kind of so much chaos going on that it almost you have to be paying attention to what's going on.
This was a little over 12-minute match, but still fucking Commander fucking got over quick.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know the exact ratio of how many regular fans, semi-regular fans, and newer people at AIW. There were moments where you could tell that was from people who don't know really what's going on, which is fine. Not shaming people, but you could tell. But when fucking, was it Chase broke up a Commander pin and he got booed?
Yeah.
Fuck.
And I mean, that says a lot because of how over Chase is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that one was hilarious because I started looking around whenever everybody started booing. I'm like, really? Damn, okay.
Yeah, but this was a hands down fun match. I don't think we've seen it. I'm gonna try to pull it up really quick, but I want to see a 1-on-1 between Chase and M-Dog.
I don't think we've seen it either. That would 100% is a match I want to see.
We saw Chase versus J Pro. God, looking at fucking M-Dog's cage matches. Whew.
Forbes magazine's most traveled wrestler.
Yeah, fucking, you could tell 20 years worth of fucking promotions, and it looks like a well-decorated military personnel where they just have all these fucking bars, and it's just every year it's all these fucking promotions.
So many different countries.
Okay, in the past 2 years, this year in 2021, Chase has been in 2 scramble matches with M-Dog. Going back to 2019. Yeah, I want to say we've never seen fucking Chase versus M-Dog, and that's a match I realized in the middle of this one, I'm like, I want to see it.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like they had some pretty good chemistry, just of the little bit of what we saw.
That was honestly Chase versus M-Dog is a match that I wanted to see whenever that scramble for Gangster F got announced.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I saw that flyer for the scramble and I saw M-Dog and Chase on there, I was like, that'd be a really good 1-on-1.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain that they've never, looking at a lot of his match history, fucking M-Dog, just AIW, it's crazy. Some of his fucking opponents, man. But I thoroughly enjoyed this match. Way of starting up. Any other thoughts?
No, just would like to repeat. Commander, please come back every single month. And Gringo. I love Gringo Loco too.
I was about to say, Commander come back, Gringo Loco come back. Made sure I gave him a hug before I left, because I used to always love bullshitting and chatting with him. He's a hell of a good dude. But it was
yeah, he is.
It was Chase pinning Riley Rose for the win.
Scramble God.
Yeah, that's trying to remember the exact comment Chase said at the end of the night when I seen him about him winning, and he was like of course, I was in the match, of course I won, type thing. So yeah, that great to see him in that match.
It's always great to see Chase in any match.
Actually, I meant to say great to see him win that match, but yes, great to see him in the match as well, obviously. All right, let's move on to the next one. Matt Justice versus Big Twan Tucker in an intense rules match. I think one issue we had through the night, that the beginning of some of these matches felt a little weak because the matches before it were really, the crowd was really into them. And it was like nothing against the match itself. It was just getting the crowd back into it. I felt that certain parts of the night were a bit of a struggle.
I think that's a struggle for a lot of Akron shows, honestly. I don't know what it is. I don't know, like that crowd is just weird sometimes.
It could be the percentage of people that aren't maybe regulars. And maybe not even just like they're not AIW regulars. They might not be as much independent wrestling regulars. It's
your guys that are coming, or your fans that are coming because they saw Johnny Gargano and Matt Cardona on the flyer.
Because I know that's one thing that I've kind of preached to people because they thought like, oh, now Cardona's gone, we're not going to get those fans. I'm like, no, you're still going to get them. They're just going to come for other people.
Yep.
Like those are the people that are coming for Harley Race and Steamboat and Gargano and Thunder Rosa. Like people like, oh, I saw them on TV. I'm going to now go to this show and see them. I don't know what this company is, but I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Hopefully they become regulars. I mean, that's partially how I started coming to AEW was because of that shit. But
hey. We're always trying to grow the cult.
Yes. I swear that there should be just one show where we give out free punch. Punch is kind of cheap. I think we get
it is.
We get a big punch bowl at the door.
Oh shit. AIW, don't drink the punch.
Tell everybody it's free, but you can't drink it till the beginning of the main event. And the cue to drink it is thumbs up for Bishop.
Hell yeah, brother.
But yeah, I felt like this match kind of started off a little bit like that, but when shit started picking up, especially with fucking Justice throwing shit in the ring, like that got a lot of people's attention. Like, all right, here we go.
Brought back the AIW 3D props.
Yes.
Surfed him right over top of Twan's back whenever he was throwing him into the ring.
The one chair fucking punches a hole in the door.
Whenever the double door, is that the one you're talking about?
Might have been.
When they had the doors stacked on top of each other and Twan put Justice through.
No, not that.
The one chair. Oh, they had the one chair. The legs went right through the door. So like they had them stacked.
Okay, yeah, I got
so like that top chair, the legs for it went through the bottom door.
Yeah, I just pulled up the result tweet, and yeah, like you could see it. Like that chair as a whole is fucking beat up. But no, it wasn't that. It was when Justice was throwing chairs into the ring. Like the way it landed and hit the door, like it kind of like stuck in.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw it from your angle, but yeah, like.
No, I don't think I did. That one chair, dude. Let's just say this: Matt Justice beat the shit out of Twan Tucker with that one chair, and like the back of it was like all flimsy and like waving around in the air every time he swung it there at the end. Dude, Twan took a fucking beating in this match, but he also wasn't afraid to give one out.
Yeah, this is a side of Twan we've never seen. Like, yeah, we saw him, main event Wrestle Rager, and he's been through some shit, but this was a tougher Twan of getting like punched in the face, slapped in the face, and just kind of not flinching. You have fucking Justice coming at him full speed and just not budging Twan. Like, 2022 Twan is pretty interesting. Imagine if he was in the fucking hardcore tournament this weekend.
Oh man, I kind of wish he was. Man, yeah. I don't know. I like this side of Twan. I wouldn't mind seeing him in more hardcore matches, honestly. I think it kind of suits his style a little bit more.
And you know what? I don't know what else to say about this, but like just with the ending, fucking no one saw that coming. Fucking
definitely not.
Twan pinning Justice for the win. Like, I thought Twan was going to take a beating, but still like managed to hold on to the very end, but just Justice takes him to the limit. No, he fucking wins.
Yeah. Sending Justice through the double doors.
And Twan was even shocked himself that he won.
Yeah. We always talk about like, Twan's facial expressions and how we love watching Twan watch wrestling. But watching Twan win this match was the best facial expression I've ever seen him with. That one was better than whenever Faye Jackson was twerking on him.
No, nothing ever beats that. This is a close second, I'll give you that, but nothing beats that.
All right, fine. So it goes like, if you're putting them with like 3-2-1 spot, the 3 spot is him getting forked by John Thorne at Wrestle Rager, and then the 2 spot is him beating Matt Justice at Absolution, and then the 1 spot is him and Faye.
Yeah, that whole match is number 1. That's on fucking IWTV. I need to sit down and rewatch it because I love that fucking match.
It is. They just put Beer Bash up not too long ago because I wasn't at that show. I just watched it whenever it got put up on IWTV.
Oh, you just watched it? Oh my god.
Yeah, I just watched it. I don't know, maybe about a month ago.
To be there live, like as soon as that match was announced, it's like, oh my god, here we go. Here we fucking go. And every so once in a while when like Faye posts like a pretty sexy picture of her, I will post the fucking Twan reaction of him with his like hands over his head like, oh, just because I'm like, I think of Big Twan in those moments of how he would react. Any more on Twan and Justice?
No, I don't really know what all you can say. It was a good match. Go back and watch it if you didn't get to see it.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Wes Barkley versus the Duke, and the Duke with the absolute greatest entrance in not Absolution history, but in AIW history. Coming out like a king. I don't know the exact word for it, where people are carrying your throne. I think of Macho Man, Macho King, and I think of WrestleMania 9. But that was fucking awesome.
So before the show started, because Kurt has not been to the Akron venue, or I think he might have been there once, but he said he didn't really pay attention to like the paintings on the walls. And he looked at me and he's like, what was that? He's like, what was that outdoor WrestleMania? It's like WrestleMania 9. He's like, yeah. He's like, man, who's going to ride in here on an elephant? So I think that Duke doing that entrance in that building was absolutely perfect.
Man, I didn't even think about that fucking background, but God, you're right. Or he's right. That fucking...
Yeah, that was all Kurt. And he said all that before the show even started. So
yeah.
We didn't even know what Duke had planned yet.
If I would have said that before the show and seen the Duke come out like that, my jaw would have dropped.
Me and Kurt were enjoying some extracurriculars a little too much to, I think, really put it together until I did just now.
Staring at some amazing trees.
Dude, those trees were so fucking cool.
That fucking entrance. I want to go back and rewatch it on IWTV. Just, yeah. I want to hear the commentary of what was said and all that, like that. But I kind of mentioned something earlier of like, I got a purchase that I'm going to do next week. Fucking Wes Barkley comes out with this new Rip City Shooter shirt. On the back, it has the kind of how the NWO had 6 ball in the back. This one had a 3 ball. And you can actually go to his merch table and buy just the shirt that has the 3 ball. I didn't want that one because the front says Rip City Shooters, but it's in the style of Cash Money Records. And I thought that was cool as fuck. So I asked Wes at intermission, I was like, where can I get that one? Not this one that you have here, which great and all, but I really like that one. He's like, I should have them Saturday. So I was like, okay, I'm going to buy one because that looks fucking awesome.
Oh, I'll have to go check that out. So, I saw the 3 ball one because Trombetta had gotten a bunch of blood on him from a match that we'll talk about in a little bit. And so at intermission, he bought that new West shirt and changed into it.
And then the main event happened. He got blood on it.
Yep.
But yeah, fucking.
There was a lot of blood this night, man.
Mm-hmm. No Hell on Earth 8. I think that was the one. Yeah, no Hell on Earth 8, but still a lot of blood.
Yeah. That floor, I bet those Shriners were real happy with us on Saturday.
Well, I'd figure they had to bring the COVID cleaners back in. The special price ones that are more expensive because they got to get all the germs out and all the now for this one it's all the blood.
And we got to get all that blood off the carpet on the stage too.
But I have very little memory of this match other than their fucking entrances. It wasn't very long, like about a little over 10 minutes. But
yeah, there's not anything that really sticks out. Just, it was a match that was on the card. I think that the spot that it was in was good. I think that it served its purpose of kind of being like a little bit of a cool down match for us before we go into that 2 out of 3 falls match. So I think that all in all, I think it served its purpose.
Yeah. I think the only thing that I really remember is that ending of 2 Duke drivers in a row. And before the last one, he says, "I'm sorry, I love you."
Yeah, that popped me.
Yeah. It was the Duke pinning Wes Barkley for the win.
Little upsetting to see Duke get the win, not going to lie.
Somebody's got to eventually beat him for the Haas boot. That's the moment I'm waiting for.
Well, let's give it to Twan.
Yeah. Because also Twan was screwed out of I thought it was a Haas boot match at last year's Rager. Because that was supposed to be a match, and then it turned out not to be a match.
Duke didn't want to work.
Duke doesn't work Saturdays. Well, he obviously does, but... All right, let's move on to the next one. We got Katie Arquette versus Jocelyn Navarro. 2 out of 3 falls match, and pull up the length on this one. Went about as long as the match before it, about 10.5 minutes. But a majority of that 10.5 minutes was literally one fall. The last, not even a minute was the last fall?
I missed this entire match, I'm not even going to lie. Because I thought that this was going to be the match before intermission, so I wanted to go to the bathroom really quick. I figured with it being 2 out of 3 falls, I was going to have plenty of time to go to the bathroom and to come back, right?
Yeah.
So I got caught at the door and talked to Ed Battis for a little bit on my way back to my seat. And I heard the bell ring for that first fall. And I looked and I was like, oh, okay, Jocelyn's up 1-0. And then I started walking back to my seat. And as soon as I got back there, the bell rang. And I looked up and I was like, wait, what just happened? So I missed this entire match.
Not necessarily going to skip over the match, but just getting into kind of how it ended. You had Jocelyn getting a pinfall on Katie, and then literally shortly after, as I'm trying to fucking tweet that it was up, that Jocelyn was up 1-0, fucking Jocelyn gets a second fall via referee stoppage, and Jocelyn was, pissed after this. I mean, granted, she won, but she was still going hard after fucking Katie. I don't know if the feud's over. I mean, if you go by wins, with Jocelyn getting 2 in a row, she now has more wins than Katie, but she's fucking pissed.
Still a lot of hatred there.
Yes. And I don't think we're going to see her until J-Lit. Technically, I know she'll be at the North Canton show. Unfortunately, I will not be there, and that's not like a regular show, but because I think she's working the Caribbean or something this weekend.
Well, yeah, that's right. Forgot about that. I did hear that.
I mean, I enjoyed this match, especially with Jocelyn winning, but Katie is someone who, even going up against Jocelyn, she still has a good corner of the crowd.
Yeah, I think that I've liked Katie since I first saw her. I think the first time I saw her live was at the Akron show whenever she wrestled Jocelyn the first time. And I liked her, and I think that every time she's come back, I've seen more improvement. And she just I think she's keeps getting more comfortable with the AIW crowd too. Because I know sometimes we can be a little harsh, but I don't know. I think she's really grown on the crowd and kind of won everybody over. I like her. I hope she keeps coming back.
I mean, I like her too, but I like Jocelyn more. But I still like Katie. Hopefully, she is someone who sticks around AIW. She claims that this won't be her last Absolution. She'll be back for more. So hopefully that is true. Just in a way to see this women's division grow. Like, I don't know if we're going to get to the level of where we can have the championship again, but just have it to where there's variety.
Yeah,
and,
well, I mean, Jocelyn is getting on Twitter calling out Shayna. So.
Well, that's the joke that I've made was I kind of want her to win Jaylit, and then all she has to do is like go down to Orlando and like cash in, like just bring the belt back.
Yeah,
but we'll see how that plays out. Obviously, you missed a lot of the match, so you really got nothing else to add.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
All right, let's go into the next match. Next up, we have Casey Carrington versus Dominic Greeney in a submit or surrender dog collar match. And you got Casey Carrington coming out to what basically them being the Dudley Boys of him, Brian Carson, and Jackson Stone. Casey is perfectly being Spike. And then you had Dominic Greeney coming out to Fleetwood Mac.
I love that song.
I put it out on Twitter. I did not listen to that album like all the way through until literally probably like a month or so ago. And just last week alone, I think I listened to it like 3 or 4 times. Like, that is a great fucking album.
Yeah, it is.
Like, I've looked up like what are, you know, certain essential albums are like essential to have on vinyl. And like that one is one of them. Like, I don't own it on vinyl right now. I own it on CD only because I saw it at Walmart for like, I think it was like $7. And I'm like, all right, I'll take that. I mean, I can still listen to it digitally, but having like a nice physical copy is something I do enjoy having. And yeah, like there's been like a couple times last week I threw it on before bed and had my headphones on just listening to it. Like it's so fucking good. And obviously, like, I know that's not a hot take. It's more like, yeah, duh. No. This is like pretty famous album by a pretty big band. It's pretty good, yeah. I'm really late finding out about that. I didn't grow up listening to Fleetwood Mac, or like my parents didn't listen to them, so I had my own exposure, but still good. But yeah, this match, whew, Dominic Greeney versus Pussy Boy.
Dude, being over by Dom's parents for any Dom Casey Carrington interaction is fucking gold.
I'm not going to repeat some of the things that his dad said, but I will say it was a fun time having him so close by, especially during this match.
Whenever they left, I sat down beside Stacy, and Stacy looks at me and told me everything that that Dom's dad was saying, and then at a later point told me, I don't understand why all these guys' dads want these guys to do this particular thing. Because he was saying the same thing about Chuck's dad, too. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of had the same reaction.
Ooh, boy, yeah. So this match, very fucking bloody. Holy shit, man. Dom looks really good whenever he bleeds. I love Dom, and I want him to be okay. But he looks really good with a bloody face.
Yeah. I'll say this, though. When you really think about it, there's a lot of wrestlers that look cool when they're bloodied up.
Yeah, that's true. So one thing that I do kind of have to like note on this match is, I like the submit or surrender style dog collar match more than I like the traditional dog collar match. Because the dog collar match or the bull ropes, you gotta go touch all 4 corners. I like this particular style of the dog collar match a lot more.
See, I really enjoy the matches that you have to touch the 4 corners. I think it's because it's one of those matches you don't see a ton in wrestling. So when they randomly pop up, I'm like, ooh, cool. But the way AIW does it, that doesn't happen, which is fine. Like the submit or surrender, like there's been a lot of feuds in the AIW that have ended that way. Though a comment that I made towards Stacy is obviously Casey did not study tape of Dominic Greeney. Like, I understand how tough Dom is. Obviously one of the most deadliest wrestlers in AIW, but he has a weakness. He has a big weakness. We all kind of have the weakness, but it's been exploited in a submit or surrender match. Casey, why didn't you try to catch Dom on fire? It worked for Bishop. It might work for you.
But it did not work for Tim Donst, because Donst tried to light him on fire, put a bunch of lighter fluid on him, and he said in the mic, "Fucking do it, Donst, light me on fucking fire."
I forgot all about that. Well, I think it would have been worth a shot for Casey to try.
I agree, but yeah, it only worked for Josh.
Yeah, this was
Casey took a hell of a beating in this match too.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say this was pretty brutal too, because this is the first time that I can remember in AIW history, since I've been around, where they pulled up the canvas and the padding, and you just had the fucking wood.
Mm-hmm. It's always a real good visual too.
So yeah, crazy fucking match. Exactly what you would expect with this, though. We didn't get as much interference as I thought we would get with Carson and Stone.
No, but it was definitely still there.
Yes, still there, but
yeah, I thought they were going to be more involved as well.
Yeah, I pretty much thought it was going to be a 3-on-1 match, and Dom was going to need to have some sort of backup ready to combat that.
Yeah, I was really prepared for this to end up being a 6-way, a 6-man tag.
Mm-hmm.
Really happy that that's not what happened, but I was going into this, fully ready for that to be the case.
Any more on this? Because I got nothing.
No, nothing else. It was a great match.
It was Dominic Greeney making Casey tap. He picks up the victory. And then after this, we went into intermission, but we came back to the match that I thought was going to start off the show, but at least started off the second half. Jollyville Fuckets versus Bitcoin Boys versus Members Only versus Two Infinity. Nope. Unfortunately, Cheech could not make it, so he looked for a replacement. So instead of Two Infinity and Beyond, we had the Absolute Legends, two longtime AIW wrestlers, Colin Delaney with Lewis Linden. I kind of wish he would have brought back the pirate ninja, whatever you want to call it, but I was still fine with this too. Yeah,
it was Lewis Linden. I mean, it seems weird to have an Absolution and not have Lewis Linden on the card. So I guess if you're going to have anybody as a replacement for Cheech, Lewis Linden's probably your best choice.
And then also another special entrance from the Bitcoin Boys.
Yeah. All of the students, looked great in all their suits and their nice clothes with that Absolution dress code in full effect. Everybody looked great. And a very special entrance for Smoke and Jay sponsored athletes.
I was going to say that when I saw a lot of these students walking around, I thought they kind of look like, whether you want to call it early 20th century FBI agents, cops, whatever. Maybe it's mob look. I don't know exactly what you want to call it, but it fit exactly what this entrance was. So I was like, oh, okay. So I was supposed to get that vibe from them. Good. Okay, yep. Cool. Yeah, it wasn't this is what I'm thinking, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's what they were doing thing. But no, that's the look they were going for. I enjoyed the Bitcoin Boys special entrance. Not as elaborate as the Dukes, but still good.
No. Yeah, Duke didn't spend as much money on the Bitcoin Boys entrance as what he did on his.
Yeah, they got the scraps.
Yeah, maybe I should up my sponsorship dollars.
Maybe.
Oh, shit. Cut that out. I don't want them to hear that. I mean, this match was, I think, everything that we hoped it would be, everything that we wanted it to be. Lots of chaos, a bunch of flips and dives and just bodies flying everywhere. And that's kind of what we want whenever we go into one of these tag team scrambles, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I was really looking forward to this match. Even with the team change, you still had two veteran AIW teams or roster members. Even if not just with Lewis Linden being an AIW veteran, like, he's kind of a veteran in the tag division. He's had a good amount of tag teams, like he's in a tag team now. He, at one point, people kind of forget he was in a tag team with Ethan Page. He obviously had him and Flip Kendrick, also a long-running tag team in AIW. So, like, these two made perfect sense in this match of having half the match being veteran tag teams in AIW. And then you had two newer tag teams.
You just reminded me that I missed Flip Kendrick. I wish he'd come back.
I'm wondering, does he still wrestle? I would think so, but I'm not 100% sure. Oh my God. Cage Match has that Cheech was in the match.
Really?
Yes.
They didn't get the memo.
Yeah, I don't know where the fuck they got that. See if... God, I kind of forget there was a good period where... Like, Lewis Linden has also had a lot of single matches, too, like in just AIW's history.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to pull up Flip's Cage Match. Oh, fuck. Is that so? According to Cage Match, Flip Kendrick's last match was at Built to Last. It was the number one contender 4-way match for the AIW tag team titles. It was To Infinity and Beyond defeating 40 Acres, the two members that aren't at AIW anymore, versus the Bitcoin Boys versus Aeroform.
Mm.
And even before that, like, just, yeah, like, his last 3 matches were AIW. Bobblehead Night,
Wow.
Hell on Earth 15, and Built to Last.
Jeez.
Well, hopefully he comes back. I miss him.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, he's had a much lighter schedule past so many years. I have to, next time I see Lewis Linden, I'm gonna have to ask him about that. How's Flip doing? Because there was a time where he was stuck in Canada, kind of being kidnapped by
Forgot about that.
Yeah, kidnapped by everybody's favorite Canadian wrestler.
Oh God!
Good old Teddy Hart.
Dude, I forgot that happened, man.
And that was around the same time, and I even forgot that this happened. Did you know that Flip had 2 matches in TNA?
I did not.
One of them was, well, they were both for the TNA X Division title tournament. He won a qualification match versus Dakota Darso. I have no idea who the fuck that is.
Me neither.
They haven't wrestled since 2018 and doesn't look like their cage match is, they're the opposite of M-Dogs. Not a lot on there. And then, of course...
Forbes magazine most least traveled wrestler.
I don't know, that's a 100,000 way tie with a lot of wrestlers.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then he lost against Zimayon in the first round. Yeah, and that's when he had to go by Flip Casanova.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's so long ago. All right, back to this match. I think, yeah, great way to come back to intermission, and I think the young AIW tag teams really showed out.
I definitely agree with you. Everybody looked great in this match, but, you know, Bitcoin Boys being their first Absolution looked phenomenal for their first Absolution match. Members only, those guys debuted, you know, almost a year ago.
Yeah.
And they're great. Like, those guys are so fucking good. I don't get it. I mean, I know that they had a lot of time in training, but, like, even, you know, going through, like, COVID, like, they had that time off where they couldn't even train, and, like, you know, doing, you know, training and being in front of a crowd is so different. But, like, they just seem so comfortable. They're a lot of fun to watch. I love it.
I mean, there were a lot of first-time Absolution wrestlers here. People making their Absolution debut. This match obviously being one of the bigger ones with Bitcoin Boys and Members Only. Because like you said about how Members Only debuted roughly a year ago, and then the flip side too, Bitcoin Boys, if I'm correct, they had an Absolution match as singles, but it was later that night that they debuted.
No, that night they were working security because You know who I'm talking about.
Bunkhouse Brawl, you're talking about Jock and Mance?
Yeah. And then Bunkhouse Buck was supposed to come, was supposed to be there for that, and his flight was late. And that's why he came out and did that segment later. But earlier in that night, Mikey and Eric were working security.
Okay.
And that segment got thrown together at the last minute because Bunkhouse Buck finally got there.
I'm thinking the show before. Sakimoto takes Cleveland. 4-way, Lee Moriarty defeats Eric Ryan, Eric Taylor, and Mikey Montgomery. And then even obviously a little before that at obviously Little Guido's Beer Bash, where you had the debuting 4-way match with, ironically, 2 now tag teams.
Right.
2 tag teams that I would not be surprised if we see another match coming up this year. So yeah, I think
I'm all for it.
I think in my mind, I was thinking the fact that we had like those 2 matches in a row where they're against each other, and here we are, Absolution, and they're being thrown together. And maybe I was also thinking the fact that we saw the Duke out earlier in the night, and then he comes back out later and then the Bitcoin boys form. But nonetheless, they formed at Absolution, and yeah, still didn't have a singles match. They were there, they were on camera, had stuff, but yeah, no match. So yeah, any other thoughts on this?
No, I think everybody looked great. Especially the young guys, like you said. Eric took that pounce from Team Money really good. It looked real nice. I'm still a little upset that we didn't get to see it on Calvin though.
I wanted Calvin and Mikey, not Calvin. Did I want Calvin? Yeah, I wanted Calvin. For a second, I was like, did I want Malcolm? No, it was Calvin. See the father and son bonding time.
Yep. I think Mikey would have flew if he took it too. I mean, hey man, Eric looked good taking it.
It was Malcolm and Calvin both pinning Colin for the win.
I'm happy for those guys, man. It was a hell of a match.
Fuck yeah. Let's move on to the next one. Pretty Boy Smooth versus Isaiah Broner. We're getting into 2 back-to-back grudge matches, and this kind of went the way that I expected it to. I do want to compliment PB on his, what I think is his new attire. At least we haven't seen in the IW, like a white and cream mix.
Yeah. There's a lot of guys that had real nice attire this night.
Mm-hmm.
It's very that big show feel.
Mm-hmm.
This was one of those matches going into the night that I was really excited about. I love Isaiah Broner just like the rest of us do. I like PB. This match, for some of it felt like very clunky, but all in all, I think it was a good match. The thing that I think really stands out to me the most was the way that PB plays to the crowd as a heel.
Mm-hmm.
Like that fake out that he did. He told everybody in the front to move because like he was going to throw Broner into him, and then threw Broner into the ring and flicked everybody off. Just like little things like that, just perfect. And I think that there's a lot of room for PB to grow as a heel, and I'm kind of excited to watch that process.
Yeah, see what happens when you slap Jocelyn Navarro.
She was hilarious being down there in the front row for this match too.
Yeah, so that I noticed towards the beginning, like she didn't just jump in the front row, like she was kind of somewhat in the crowd, and then giving it about another minute or so, she's sitting front row yelling shit. Like, fuck you, PB. All this shit. It's fucking great.
You got a fuck you, PB chant going.
Yeah, that was some fun ass shit. That's the thing I love about Jocelyn as a whole. Like, we talk about Big Twan doing stuff like that. Jocelyn's pretty good for it too. Like when me and Charlie went down to OWA for Good Trouble, there was like a match or two where like both Twan and Jocelyn were like reacting to it, yelling shit. Like that's a 1-2 punch that you don't think about.
Yeah, you're right. We just need to get set those two beside of each other, and then have a camera that just faces them the whole entire time, so that we can watch them watch wrestling. Find
the right match and get them both on commentary. Doesn't have to be AAW. I'm just talking in general.
It's pure entertainment.
This one went under 10 minutes, but yeah, fucking Broner gets the win. Stands.
Lariat, man.
Oh, yeah. Fucking still stands tall. I'm looking forward to see what, the next year holds in store for Broner. I think when we're talking year end stuff and 2023 predictions, his name will be thrown out a lot.
Should be.
Nothing else on this match?
Not really. It's the only thing I can think of. Broner debuted in the AIW in September?
I swear we have this conversation
no matter what, it's less than a year. And that guy is already, he's so over with the AIW crowd, and the opportunities that he's getting in AIW are huge. You think about it, and you've got guys like, Kaplan, who this Absolution was the first time that he's had a singles match, and he's been in the company since 2015. Twan Tucker, I think this was his first singles match at Absolution, and he's been in the company since 2016, 2017.
Mm-hmm.
So you have all these guys.
Oh, no. It wasn't Big Twan's first, because 2019, him versus MJF opened the show. Oh
yeah, you're right. But so you've got, I know that there's other people that have been in AIW for a length of time that have not had a singles match. They've not had a singles match at Absolution, and here's Broner under a year, and he's already in a highlighted feud at Absolution. I think that says a lot for his talent, and I think that says a lot for his future in the company as well.
His debut in AIW to this show, 10 months to the day.
Shit.
He debuted September 23rd of last year, and he's done a lot. Granted, he hasn't won every match, but being able to have on your resume, looking at his 2022, some of the matches, I kind of didn't realize there was this many, but nonetheless, still to have a match versus Minoru Suzuki and a match versus Eddie Kingston, granted, losing both of them, but easily some of the biggest matches of the year in AIW.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Both those guys that you just mentioned were the main guests for those shows too.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge spotlight for Broner. And, it's just, there's a lot of momentum, and I hope he carries it. It continues on with this momentum. I think he's got a really bright future in the company. In wrestling in general, but in AIW specifically, bright future.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Make sure I did say Isaiah Broner pinned PB Smooth. Okay, now on to the next one. Kaplan versus Tim Donst. Okay, this was not previewed because I'm a dumbass, and I will take full responsibility for it, even though we will like to blame Jayhawk and Jay Gold from my IWTV guide. But I was going by kind of like what I normally do, go by the Wrestling Cheers Facebook page, where I take all the graphics that AIW posts, and I post them directly in a album there. So I'm able to scroll through it. Well, that match hadn't been announced yet. Now you could be like, oh, that was an honest mistake. Well, number one, the match was announced. We knew it was happening. And I still have it here in my office, still standing in front of me. I have a notepad that had every match that was announced written on it, that I wrote while we were reviewing AIW 3D, which includes Donst versus Kaplan. So totally fucked up. But I will use the excuse that I didn't want the world to know that I was excited for a Tim Donst match. And let the record show, I started a Tim fucking Donst chant. Think about that. I started it. Of all people.
You used to be the one that led the sucks part of that chant.
There was a point where I was the only one yelling the sucks. That's fucking Turner's Hall days.
That's before my time.
Literally the only person yelling it because everybody loved Donst. This was a crazy fucking match. Beat the piss out of each other. I expect from Donst and Kaplan. Both had Great promos. Kaplan's went to another level. My exact reaction was, and I didn't put this online, and I thought I hated Donst. But
the promo got dark, man.
That last little bit was just, oh, damn.
Yeah.
I think even Nick Gage was like, damn, that's too far.
and Nick Gage even said, cancer didn't kill him. I'm going to. Dude, whenever I was watching Kaplan's promo and it got to that part about Donst's family, my jaw hit the floor. I'm still kind of in shock over it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that was like some shit that I didn't even fucking know.
I knew about it. That was, I felt like pretty public stuff. Like I remember, whenever all that stuff happened, I found out on Twitter, and it was through people in our community that I found out about it through.
I might have forgot about it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think that I just try not to think about it, and I try to not have that. I don't want to. I love these guys. I don't want to know. I told Chase one time because he gave me his business cards. I was like, man, I hate knowing your real name. I don't need to know about all the stuff that's going on in these guys' personal lives. Outside of the ones that I'm friends with personally. Stuff like that I don't need to know. But good storytelling, I guess, for this match, though.
One thing that we got to point out: this had a really weird ending.
Yeah, it did.
Curious to if we hear conversation on the AEW podcast about it. I'm going to guess there's going to be one this week, but it was I don't remember exactly what happened with the pin, but it seemed like Donst won because his music hit right away, and then Dunn was like, or even I should say Steve Guy announced that Donst won, but Dunn was like, no, Kaplan wins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the finish was really funky. I don't know exactly what happened there, but I think we were all pretty confused. But the match itself, I thought it was really good. It wasn't very long. Anytime I see Kaplan in a match, I cringe the entire time. Every single time he does anything, I just, I feel bad for him. I got to try some of his beef jerky on Saturday too, and it was amazing. The finish of this match was really weird.
Yeah, I'm waiting to hear what AIW says. I think it sucked the life out of the room because we were just like, what the fuck was that? And selfishly, I hope this isn't the end of these two.
Well, with the way that everything ended with them, it would almost seem like it's not. And I'm not talking about the finish of the match, just the way that everything ended as they were starting to kind of go towards the back or whatever. Going for the handshake and Donst spitting in Kaplan's face, and then Kaplan kind of going after him and Donst retreating behind the guardrail. I feel like there's still a lot left that you can do with it for sure.
Yeah, I hope we see, not just of these two, but give me more of Donst in AIW. Never thought I'd say that, but, seeing how we only saw him twice last year, and we're almost to 1 year, or almost had 1 year without him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now welcome to Donst being AIW a little more. Maybe we can get our money together to get him some new attire, because he literally had when you think of regular Tim Donst that we saw 2019, this is the same Donst. Duct tape boots. I don't know if he has the singlet anymore, but because he's going more now basketball shorts and t-shirt with cutoff sleeves. But then again, I'm going to pull it up. I really don't think Tim Donst wrestles as much anymore.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't hear too much. In that promo that he put out, he said that he was taking some time off to get his head right. So maybe that's legit.
Since his last AIW match, How many matches do you think he's had? Like in between the two?
So you're saying from the end of July last year to Absolution?
Yes. And of course, this is what's on Cage Match because he could have had more.
2.
Close. He had 4.
Okay.
None too.
Where else does he work? So I don't feel like I see him being promoted for too much. I mean, I know you said he's not really wrestling anyways, but I mean,
about 2 months after Nightmare on North Elm Street, he wrestled at H2O, and then 2 of his 3 other matches for a company called SHP, Sean Henderson Presents. So I don't know much about that, but that was in New Jersey. Both of those shows were in New Jersey. And then he had a match versus Dr. Cube at Kaiju Big Battle. Yeah, so not much from Donst that year.
It's like, really coming in on that Legends contract,
Here's the crazy thing. In between his 2 previous AIW matches, on Cage Match he had 3. And that was only a matter of fucking 3 months.
Jeez. I like Donst. I'm cool with him coming back. I don't know. I don't know that I need to see Donst every month, but every other month, every couple months, I'm cool with it.
Yeah. Oh hell, even if we had let's say he's on every single AIW show from here to the end of the year. Seeing how much we haven't seen him lately since the last Absolution, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I agree.
And I said that. Me.
I still can't believe it, man.
All right, let's, it was, yep, like I kind of mentioned that, Kaplan pinned Donst for the win. Still kind of confusing, but it was what it was. On to the next one. The AIW Tag Team Championships were on the line. Bulking Season versus PME. And Bulking Season coming out to not only with, I should say, Legion of Doom inspired shoulder pads, but their Japanese entrance music of Black Sabbath Iron Man.
So whenever I went to the bathroom during the 2 out of 3 falls match, you know how there's that curtain, as you're walking to the bathroom, I saw the shoulder pads there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that's cool. I wonder who's doing that. And then I saw, on my way back to the venue area, I saw that there was two things of shoulder pads. I was like, oh, that's really cool. I wonder which tag team is doing this. And then Bulking Season comes out, and I went, oh, this looks great.
It was kind of teased, I think, a little bit on Twitter, and then Arthur called into At Odds with Wrestling and teased it, where it was obviously going to be Legion of Doom inspired entrance. But I wasn't sure 100%, and then also what exactly they'd be doing. But shoulder pads and their Black Sabbath entrance was perfect, and it's been asked online since then, should they keep this or go to their old one, or previous one, I should say. Sounds like Black Sabbath might be here to stay. We'll see how that goes.
That's my vote.
But this match was everything it needed to be. But to me, that sounds like it's a knock, but it's not. To see what Bulking Season has done, since they've debuted, like we talk about the Bitcoin Boys, look at these two and being put together. They weren't as good of a fit as the Bitcoin Boys were, of being able to go together. They made it work, and slowly but surely, really, especially during COVID, took it to another level, especially with fucking Chuck Stone. I love Arthur. I'm not going to be some stupid ass troll account on Twitter that's going to disparage Arthur. Love Arthur, but
yeah, there's no hot soup here.
Yeah, because this is an actual podcast and not a bullshit excuse this was going to be a podcast. Oh, I still might do it. Fuck you. Anyway, but yeah, I'm not going to sit there and talk shit on Artie. But this Killer Instinct part of Chuck that came out last year has been fucking awesome. And that's what I feel like put Bulking Season to this other level and endeared them to the crowd. Personally, I mean, yeah. I did want the main event to be the ones that beat PME, but I do love the story here with bulking season, though.
Yeah. I've always liked bulking season, but coming back from COVID, before those surprise shows that we had in April last year, if you would have asked me if I saw bulking season becoming tag team champions, I would have told you no. And even after those surprise shows, I would, still so much improvement. And, it's really, you look at what those guys did during COVID whenever they were traveling to, small, shitty outside shows just so that they could work. Doing things like that really paid off on Saturday, because those guys have gotten so much better coming out of the pandemic, and just the way that they've grown together as a tag team. The chemistry that they have together is insane. And I'm kind of with you more on, the Chuck thing. I love Artie, don't get me wrong, but Chuck is like the legit powerhouse of that team. He's the one, doing just kind of the more insane moves. And I mean, that backbreaker is fucking brutal, man. Mm-hmm. And I like how they've incorporated that law into the backbreaker so that they can have a more of a tag team finish. Artie's grown so much as a wrestler in the ring as well. And just this Saturday was everything that it needed to be. And I'm so happy for those guys.
Yeah. 'Cause, get into how it ended. It was Arthur pinning Marino, and then bulking season becoming the new AIW Tag Team Champions. Tremendous celebration. Chuck Stone's dad was very excited.
Very.
This was another match where we had to hear a wrestler's dad say something a little weird, and you go, okay.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. But hey, PME, I know that whenever that heel turn first happened, a lot of people weren't really sure about it. PME really has grown into that heel role, and I think they're really starting to find themselves in that. And you just, at the end of the day, you just got to big up to those guys, because they carried that tag team division through the pandemic, and through this last year of as AIW has done such an amazing job building some more of this homegrown talent in the tag team division, and bringing in some other tag teams, like the main event. PME has really carried that tag team division. So, at the end of the day, you still got to give, big ups to those guys.
Yeah. Really happy for bulking season, and might have something in the works with bulking season here coming up soon. Before we got into the main event, we did have a little segment. Matt Cardona came out and gave up the AIW Absolute and Intense Championships. Through this, Matt Cardona said that he was picking the stipulation to the main event, and it was going to be a no ropes barbed wire match. And there were a lot of people that kind of complained about Cardona and his promo and all this kind of shit. But really, it was to fill time while they're taking off all the ropes and then adding all this barbed wire, because it's not just something they can throw up so easily. So it took some time, and then there was still a little bit of time available. And this is where I took my Johnny Gargano figures out to the car, because I bought them towards the end of intermission, so I didn't have enough time. But yeah, anything to add on Cardona's promo?
No, because honestly, I didn't pay any attention to anything he said. As soon as he said that it was going to be no ropes barbed wire, as soon as he said that he got to pick the stipulation, and I saw all the students come out and start taking their ropes off, as soon as those ropes started coming down, I knew exactly what was happening. So my eyes just never left the ring, and I completely tuned him out and just watched Pedro set up that barbed wire. Watching Pedro set up that barbed wire is like a show in and of itself.
Yeah.
And that guy does such an amazing job. Like, I know he's not going to hear this, and he's gotten a lot of praise on Twitter, and I know he's not going to see it. Dude, Pedro is seriously the unsung hero of AIW, and everything that he does for the company is I love that dude to death. And watching him set up the barbed wire and just how I don't know, that shit's interesting to me. I thought I was only going to see one no rope barbed wire in my life, and it was that the one that we got to see in Indy with Josh and Matt. So I was getting geeked for this.
Let's move on to that main event. Derek Dillinger versus Joshua Bishop in a no ropes barbed wire match for the AIW Absolute and Intense Championships. You got Ziggy coming out looking like she's straight out of Midsummer. Then you got thumbs up for Bishop.
Thumbs up for Bishop. Dude, Ziggy did look great. That Midsummer inspired gear was awesome. Derek wearing the white, perfect. I loved it. Perfect for a no rope barbed wire match too.
Mm-hmm.
And JB just being the madman that he is, coming out in his regular ass trunks, just ready to let that barbed wire rip apart his skin. My God, dude.
He didn't wear a lot of white, but he did have a fresh, how do you put it? A fresh patch of bleach in his hair. So it was nice and, started off nice, bright white.
Yeah. JB and Derek are both, like I said about Dom earlier, two other guys that look really good with a face full of blood.
Mm-hmm.
And the blood going into Josh's hair with that fresh bleach too. So just like such good visuals, so good.
I mean, at the end of the match, it looks like he just has bright red hair.
Yeah, it's insane. And I mean, these two guys are fucking madmen. Like the two most insane people that you could probably put in a ring together. Like I thought Matt Justice was crazy,
Mm-hmm.
But like, dude, fucking Derek Dillinger and Josh Bishop is a feud that I want to watch over and over. Like that is a match that I just want to keep watching. Like we were constantly excited anytime Matt and Josh had a match together,
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same feeling that I have with Josh and Derek. Like I just want to watch this one over and over again.
Yeah, that means, I was going to say the ending. I don't know if I want to get there just yet, but this match was just fucking insane. But I expected
brutal.
That's what I expected from these two. Like even before this stipulation was announced, I knew it was going to be fucking crazy. But you add in that stipulation to this match, fuck.
Yeah. I mean, that was just absolutely brutal.
Any other thoughts on this match?
No, I don't think so. A lot of blood. It looked like a crime scene. Just carnage. So much carnage. So much barbed wire. So much blood. So much broken shit. I mean, 10 out of 10 would watch again.
It was Josh Bishop pinning Derek Dillinger to regain and become the new AIW Absolute and Intense Champion.
Thumbs up for Bishop.
Thumbs up for barbed wire.
Hell yeah, give me more barbed wire. I think AIW has brought out the bloodlust in me, because I didn't realize how much I loved like hardcore matches and shit until I started going to AIW shows.
Man, if this match was like this, the fuck is Rager gonna be like?
Oh my God, I still can't believe that they did this match at the Shrine. Like, I mean, not that I would expect to see it at the Odeon either, but like at the Odeon, I feel, that's something I would see. At Tadmore Shrine, no rope barbed wire, never thought that this match was going to happen.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to find a way to end this feud. It's got to, not just not end the feud, but like for it to be Bishop winning the title in Akron.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was going to go through some shit.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to see that, we finally got Bishop back being champion. Now, how long is that going to last? No fucking clue. We have Charlotte right around the corner. We have Wrestle Rage also right around the corner. And more people are going to be in line to go up against Bishop. So this should be interesting.
Yeah. I think overall with this show, there was a lot of AIW homegrown talent that was featured. You know, you've got a lot of students and people that have come through the AIW Academy that were featured in matches on this night, and that's huge. That's a long way from that Absolution 10 main event where you had the dudes on TV versus Team AIW, and in that match was only one student whose name is redacted, and now to go in and where what was it? Every single one of these matches had a student, at least one student in it.
Basically,
yeah, pretty much.
Because
almost all of these matches had somebody from the academy that was featured in it.
In the first match, you got Chase Oliver, Riley Rose, and TKD. Second match, you have Big Twan Tucker. Third match, Wes Barkley. Fourth, this is where it gets kind of like iffy. You have Jocelyn Navarro, but she also did wrestle before coming to AIW. Before, I should say, going to the academy. Like, she wasn't one of the students that started off there, but she got better there.
Right. Still a product of the academy.
Yeah. Kind of the same thing with Casey Carrington, but you did have Dom in the match, so that he did come out of the IW Academy. Obviously, with the 4-way tag match, half the teams were half the match. Two of the teams straight out of the academy. Pretty Boy Smooth falls kind of in the same line that Jocelyn did. He did wrestle before coming to AIW, but got some finishing and got a little bit better there. Then you got Kaplan, and then actually look at it like this. You brought up a great point. The last two matches, pretty much all the AIW students.
Yep.
Now PME did start somewhere before.
They were at Mega. They were at Mega first, just like Jocelyn. But still, still products of the academy, and I think that is a huge testament for AIW as a company. The amount, dude, I've been coming since 2015 was Absolution 10, and that match had a handful of students, and so in 5 absolutions to see the amount of people that have come through the academy that were featured on this card, that I think that's huge. That's amazing. Kudos to Dom, especially as trainer there, him, J Pro, Derek, all the work that those guys do at the academy. And then, our crazy cult leader, John Thorne, for having the faith in all of those guys to put them in featured spots. That's huge.
We mentioned Absolution 11 earlier. And if I'm correct, no, I think I had something all planned out, and it turns out that wasn't the thing. Damn it. I thought that, or no, wait a minute, I could be right. Absolution 12. I was right. Wrong fucking Absolution. That was the Absolution debut of both Derek and Josh. Derek only debuted in the company no match.
Mm-hmm.
Josh debuted in a match. So 2017, these two were just starting out in AIW. Derek also had experience outside of AIW too. He was something for a while, got trained by somebody else. But I remember seeing Derek the next day. He wrestled for OCW, and I remember telling him, welcome to AIW. And since then, what they've both been able to do, and now main evented an Absolution 5 years later. Like, you can go back and look at that card from 5 years ago. Dominic Greeney versus the Duke, Frankie Flynn versus PB Smooth, Britt Baker versus Swoggle, Lawler versus Kingston, Ethan Page versus Sean Schultz, the original version of No Consequences versus Matt Justice, Jollyville Fuckets and the Young Studs, Shayna Baszler versus Mia Yim, Joey Janela versus Name Redacted, To Infinity and Beyond versus Crazy Pain versus the Ninja Elite Squad, which was Facade and Flip Kendrick. See, we just mentioned him again. And versus DJZ and Laredo Kid. Main event of that one, Donst versus J-Pro versus Lewis Linden versus Tracy Williams, and of course the return of Nick fucking Gage. So in 5 years, these two managed to become something. Imagine what the Bitcoin boys will be in 5 years. Imagine what bulking season will be in 5 years. Imagine what some of these students that didn't even have a match on this card will be in 5 years.
Yeah, like some of those students that were a part of the Bitcoin boys entrance. Like, what are we going to be saying about those guys in a couple of years?
Any final thoughts on Absolution?
No. Just, overall, absolutely an incredible show from top to bottom. And like I said, all those students, it feels good because, we've got to watch from the start of those guys' careers. So watching them on the biggest show and, man, it's all incredible for me. I loved every second of it. Can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, it was great to have this type of show. I agree with a lot of Thorne's sentiment of not just wanting to throw together an Absolution last year. He has taken the time over the last year to build some of these matches. And as far as I understand, some of the matches were thrown together at the last minute, but be able to throw something together like Kaplan versus Donst, it still made fucking sense. And I was still excited for it.
Yep.
And now we're on to the Bill Alfonso Hardcore Tournament and starting a whole new year leading up to Absolution 16. Any final thoughts or last minute plugs before we go?
Same as always. I have a catering company called Smokin' Jay's Barbecue. Follow us on the socials, Twitter and Instagram at smokin_BBQ, Facebook.com/Smokin' Jay's Catering. I just posted our new catering menu, I think about a month ago. So go check that out and use that discount code CHEERS to get 10% off your order. And other than that, I think as of right now, I should be there on Saturday. So unless something crazy happens, I will be seeing everybody in Jefferson.
We will definitely be there, and hopefully more on that before Saturday. But of course, you can find myself at jsummers330 on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, much like you can find this show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Facebook.com/WrestlingCheers, Twitter.com/WrestlingCheers, and Instagram.com/WrestlingCheers. Email, if you so choose, a desire, WrestlingCheers@gmail.com. Like I said earlier in the show, please rate, review, and subscribe your ever listen to this fine podcast, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music, or Podbean, WrestlingCheers.podbean.com. Check out our podcast friends such as Pod Van Dam, Super Fantastic Podcast, It's Evolution Baby, The IndieCast, Sobros Network, Biff Radio, Game Marks Podcast, Powerbomb Jitsu, The Spotlight Series, Fully Posable, Positively Pro Wrestling, IWTV Guide, If You Catch My Grift, At Odds with Wrestling, Marks with Mikes, X Over Podcast, This Ends at Prom, and Porch Talk. Check out our other non-podcasting friends such as The Mystery Men, Redline Radio, Mouse's Wrestling Adventures, VHS Party Tonight on Instagram, Heart of Gold, Toy Toy Show, Time Capsule Toys, Smokin' Jay's Barbecue, and remember you can use promo code CHEERS for a discount on your order. JCP Designs, Midwest Territory, Southern Underground Pro, and the official graphic designer of Wrestling Cheers, Moy Boy Designs. That will do it for us here on Wrestling Cheers, where everybody knows your name, especially if you're a pussy boy. Later.
It's the Wrestling Cheers. Get up on your feet, brightening your day in the middle of the week. And you gotta love the show. Yeah, you know it holds a title for the best podcast talking wrestling in Ohio. Finishing a cold one, take a load off. We ain't all about the prohibition like Josh, so we cheers. And then we sit back. Other shows are in the trash, kinda like they Nick Stapp. Like the name is Matt Justice, wearing all the gold. Wrestling Cheers is coming to a close. The #1 podcast going in the game. And one day everybody's gonna know the name. It's the Wrestling Cheers. This is Platinum Max, signing off. Ohio, good night. The world, good night. We love you. We'll see you next week.